Would you rather pay $132 a month for the move-in ready home, or would you rather spend the next 6 months dealing with contractors, repairs, and unexpected expenses after you move in? So the house that's $20,000 cheaper on the list price may not actually be a better deal. So before you buy the fixer-upper, let's talk about what repairs are really going to cost you and what that monthly payment's really going to look like. So today I got Garrett Weathers. He's been a realtor for 10 years now. I've known him personally for 5+ years. We used to actually be in the same brokerage at some point. Garrett is with
brokered by Southern Trust Realty.
Expertise for the last 10 years dealing. He's an active agent. He's not one of those agents just doing 1 or 2 deals a year, right? This guy's busy. We're busy. So we actually see properties, we deal with clients, and we actually have to have that conversation with them. Like, hey, what is going to be the better house for you? So like, what have you been seeing? Like, am I crazy talking about this, or you think this is right on point?
No, especially right now with the amount of inventory we have, buyers have options.
Mm-hmm.
So, but not every house is created equal.
Yeah.
So you're going to have homes that are needing updates, need to be fixed up for whatever reason. And then you've got homes that are ready to go.
Yeah.
So, and there's a cost difference between the two. Topic of today is, why a buyer should consider one that's move-in ready.
Yeah.
They both come at a cost.
Yeah.
To an extent. So it's just educating my clients and our buyers to say, here's with your situation, here's what you're going through, because every buyer's unique and every buyer's situation is different. This is the reason why I think this house might be the better fit for you.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they make the final decision.
For sure.
But our jobs as the agents is not to convince them to pull the trigger and do something one way or the other, but it's to educate them and advise them as our expertise allows us to do.
Yeah. I think me and Amber always say like, hey, you're the captain of the boat. We're just steering the boat to which way you want to go. Right. Cause it's like, we're here to advise you and guide you and kind of educate you, make sure you're not making a decision based on and I think this happens a lot. And we see somebody's like, well, my budget's 300,000. Like that's all I feel comfortable with. And so me being from the lending side, a lot of times I'm like, hey, that extra $20,000 a month, you're like, hey, go into 320 to get the house that's like beautiful and redone. That $20,000. It's like $132 we're talking about, right? And it's like at in the 6% range, right? Why are you going to buy the house you don't want for $130 difference, right? Like that just doesn't and people go, oh, I think it sometimes clicks when you say like an actual number.
Yeah, well, and buyers don't know what buyers don't know. So when you're working with them on the lending side, you can give them those numbers. That helps us on the agent side to say, okay, hey, now we can take that price point that we're looking at from 300 to 320.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does open up a lot of options for buyers when you're able to increase the budget. It doesn't mean that they have to go spend that much more.
Yeah.
But when you show them a home that's say at 310 or 315 and it's beautiful, ready to go, nothing needs to be done on it. But then they look at one that's maybe 290 and they're going to have to go in and spend 4 or 5, 6 months, 20, 30 or 40 grand to do those same updates. In our current market, the sellers are pretty much discounting those updates they've already done.
Yeah, I agree with that because I think especially in this market right now, and in probably a lot of markets, it's everything in real estate's negotiable, right? So like we can negotiate. A lot of times in this market, like we'll have buyers that are like, hey, instead of asking down on the list price, like say, hey, it's listed at 320. Instead of going down on list price, maybe you say, hey, I need more seller concession. I want to reduce my cash to close. And so you can ask those seller concessions versus just asking off price. Because realistically, once again, like that's the same conversation we're having. Like if the home is ready and like you're spending a lot of money on a house, right? It's not a small purchase.
No, these are big purchases.
But if you're spending a lot of money, like if we're talking about $100 difference in that payment, it's usually like I'd rather get the house I want, and then because then 10 years from now, I'm not going to care that I'm spending an extra $100, right?
Yeah, well, and chances are, the buyer's going to refinance that loan before they sell that house.
Yeah,
so they can kind of recoup that, that small monthly payment that they added in to account for the additional purchase price. It's going to be better for the buyer to negotiate a seller credit and offset that upfront cost of doing any type of repairs.
So let's look at a house. Like we had somebody that we were showing just recently too. She was kind of in that $300,000 price point. And so some of the houses we were looking at, we must have looked at like 6 different homes. And she liked the first one. She had seen it online. She liked the floor plan. She's like, oh, this is the one. I think this is the one I really like. And then she, as buyers, we want them to see other properties and make sure that, they feel comfortable with that. But the other ones were, a little bit cheaper, 10 grand cheaper, but they just they didn't feel as nice, right? And I think sometimes when you look at photos online and the photographer's job is to make it look good, right? And so it's like when you go there and you feel it's like, it's not that nice. It's just, and it's like, if we're making a $10,000 decision, that's a big, that's a lot of money. But like, this is a home that hopefully you're going to live in for 5-7 years, at least, right? I don't know what you say about that.
Yeah. Well, the average has gone up as far as how long people stay in one home. Over the years, it's gone up. Now it's 5 to 7 years. It used to be 3 to 5 before some life event happened and they made a change for whatever reason. So people are staying in their homes longer, especially people that had a great interest rate.
Yeah.
If they bought 4 or 5 years ago, had a really good interest rate, when they become new buyers, it's harder for them to pull that trigger because they're, doubling or tripling their monthly payment now. But in order for them to pull that trigger on a house, it's got to look good. And they're not going to want to have to go in and take the time and energy to remodel that house to get it ready for them.
Yeah, for sure.
So very important to have one that's move-in ready.
I think so. I think so, especially so like, and we're going to do another video that we'll post here in a little bit too about, if you are listing a home, what things you should be trying to do so that you don't lose these buyers in this market right now too. So I'll post that below. Check that out as well too. So like when buyers don't want to do repairs. I mean, I think like I tell usually when we have a listing, we usually say, hey, 80-90% of buyers don't want to do any repairs at all. Like they just want to walk into a home and they just want to. Right?
And the repairs that we're talking about are some of the cosmetic things.
Yeah.
If the carpet's not in great shape or if there's mismatched flooring or paint, buyers don't want to have to come in, buy the house, and then spend a week or 2 or 3 to paint the house before they move in. Because let's be honest, it's much harder to paint the house once you start moving stuff in.
Exactly.
Same thing with carpet. So those are some of the more cosmetic types of repairs that buyers especially don't want to do right now. A major remodel of a kitchen or bathroom, that's a little bit different story.
Yeah.
But, some of the more cosmetic repairs, buyers don't want to have to do that on their own. When I'm advising buyers on, maybe buying a house that is at a little bit higher price point where everything's been done and ready versus one that needs a lot of work, one thing that a lot of times they don't factor in is they factor in the money. Like, hey, it's going to cost me $40,000 or $50,000 to do this repairs or these upgrades. What they're not factoring in is potentially the time and the inconvenience, juggling contractors. If you're a family and you've got kids, your kids are at home. So you've got a lot of things that are getting displaced while you're doing these upgrades and repairs. I had one recently. They were expecting a new baby. And we were looking at potentially a home that needed $60,000 or $70,000 worth of work. And we looked at one that didn't need all that. It was the same price. It was $60,000 or $70,000 more expensive. But they really talked it over with me and with them. And they were like, yeah, we really weren't looking at the potentially 6 months from now when new baby is here, having all the construction dust and everything else around the house. So it's not always just about the price.
Yeah.
There's other factors to consider that sometimes buyers don't necessarily think about right then in the moment. And then once you start talking with them about it, like, hey, here's how the process is probably going to work. Might take this long. That's everything works good. There's no delays. There's no unexpected hurdles, unexpected repairs that are behind the wall that you didn't know about.
Yeah.
So those are some of the factors that aren't monetary that they don't really think about until someone tells them about it. Like, okay, hey, here's the potential options and potential other things related to doing these repairs. But then here's this house that's same price if you were to do all the repairs yourself, but it's ready to go. You can move in from day one, get unpacked, get everything ready, and you're living in the house. It's yours and it's living with you. You're not having to be in and out of it. And the time delay is just, there's a lot that people don't think about.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think, so we had the similar situation. We had someone that was actually pregnant and she was moving too. And it was like, hey, like they actually looked at homes that were cheaper and he was actually in construction. So he could have done some of this stuff. He was a handy guy. Like he could have called some of the crew people out and he was like, no, I want to buy the house that's a little bit more expensive. That's move it ready, because he realized time. He knew how much time it was going to take
Correct,
and the money it was going to take to do this. And so he's like, nah, we're just going to buy the house. This one just needs paint, whereas the other ones need to like a full gut job and all this other stuff. And I'm going to deal with all that. So I'm going to pay a little bit more and get the house that fits me and my family in the situation that you're in, the life, stage you're in right then. Because they need an extra bedroom. So
yeah, that's different. Every buyer is different in every situation. So
I think a lot of times the move up buyers have kind of died right now. A lot of them died on the vine because they had those low interest rates and they just don't, moving to something else. It needs to be like a wow factor.
It's got to be a wow factor, for a buyer that's upgrading, going from maybe that small 3-bedroom, 2-bath starter home that they bought in 2020, 2021, with that really low interest rate. For them to pull that trigger, bite the bullet, and have that bigger payment, it's got to be a wow factor. So it's got to be a really good upgrade for them to go ahead and make that decision to move. Even though they're probably going to do pretty well in their sale, be able to put a lot of money down, that still doesn't change the fact that current state of the market, things are more expensive. The homes are more expensive anyway.
Yeah.
Interest rates are higher, but people buy and sell every day. So just because the market is a little bit different, that it hasn't changed. People are still buying and selling every day.
So I think that just plays to the fact that if you are a buyer right now, then you obviously get pre-approved. We can help with that. And if you are looking for a home, obviously Garrett can help you as a buyer's agent, help you get into that next home and help you move to that next stage and realize, and since he knows the market so well too, can help you, hey, maybe negotiate a better deal for you. So, because right now, maybe the inventory is, as we stated earlier, is really high as we make this video, but in any market, you can help negotiate some of those deals. And so, just having someone that knows the market is an important factor in that. So bringing it back to like what people, the buyers are looking for. A lot of times we see that a lot of buyers look towards new construction. Mm-hmm. And I think one of those factors that they look into new construction is because the home is all brand new. Everything is done. And you can see, and then they take it to the model and it's like, it's all beautiful. And then it's all
it's got a lot of lipstick on it. Looks great.
Yeah.
And they do look great.
Yeah.
They're brand new, never been lived in, but that comes at a cost as well. Mm-hmm. So, and with new construction, typically the cost is right now, maybe a little bit higher price point, but then also higher taxes.
Oh, for sure.
New construction neighborhoods, they don't have the infrastructure paid off yet. So taxes are a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Versus an older home that's been remodeled. The benefit there is lower tax rate typically, but also a little bit larger lots. So, let's be real. Most of your new construction is on smaller lots.
Squeezing them in there.
Yeah, they're squeezing them in. So you're going to be right on top of your neighbors.
Yeah.
So if you're okay with, doing a home that's been remodeled and updated that's older, benefit there is typically lower interest or lower tax rate, and then also bigger lots, potentially bigger bedrooms, secondary bedrooms. It depends on what size house you're looking at.
Yeah. And it could typically, obviously might be some small pockety neighborhoods or small homes that they just build new, but like a lot of times the older ones have like more established neighborhoods where the schools are, which school you're going to be zoned to. You kind of can see how the neighborhood already feels.
Yeah. New neighborhoods might still be zoned to one school that's, a mile and a half away, but then they're building a new school that's going to be finished in 1 or 2 years. Mm-hmm. And if you get in at that point in time and you have kids that are at that age where they go to those specific schools, a couple of years from down the road, they might be changing schools. So that's another aspect to look at too, especially with younger families, that it's more so for elementary age, because you've got more elementaries that zone to each neighborhood versus junior highs and high schools. But that's one thing to look at too is, hey, in a couple of years when this school gets finished being built, am I going to be going to that school? Or am I going to be going to the ones my kids have been going to? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it sounds like you get some convenience of the new construction. Everything's brand new. You probably get some kind of warranty with that. Mm-hmm. But you also have to end up considering location, and typically you're paying more overall for the purchasing home in smaller lots. You don't really know if the neighborhood's not fully built out, like what it's really going to look like. They have drawings and pictures, but like who knows really what it's going to look like? Is it going to look as nice as it did?
Yeah, is it going to look as nice? Sales counselors don't know everything. You don't know what commercial companies are coming in later on down the road. Is there
going to be a big Costco coming up behind you and like you're going to be looking at the back of that?
Yeah, we've seen that a lot of times over the years, especially in our area.
There's not a lot of zoning, so
neighborhood gets built, and then all of a sudden, You had a great view.
Oh, it's a water view behind us. That's great.
Water view,
Nothing else back there, just water.
Yeah, and then
other side of the water.
5 years later, it's apartments and townhouses coming up.
Well, so
you mess up your view.
We bought this house. It was a resale, but so that, established already kind of thing has already been here for 5 years when we bought it. But then behind us was a brand new neighborhood, actually Jordan Ranch. And so we used to go back there and take photos of nothing back there. And then all of a sudden, they built the houses, and then they built this water retention pond, and it looks pretty. And then all of a sudden they started building apartments. And then all the people that had just a view of nothing, because there was nothing else out there, apartments. And then there's an HEB. And I love the location of HEB to me, but also it's if I lived across where I thought I was going to have just a water view with nothing, it's it's kind of disappointing, right? Are you back up to HEB now? It's I really want to look at the back of an HEB. Yeah,
I mean, we love the conveniences that we get, but sometimes you sacrifice your views, especially in our subdivision neighborhoods like this. So
I think, one of the things I think you just need to look at is if you are in the market right now, you need to really, get with somebody that can help you think through these, issues of is it truly going to be cheaper to buy this home versus that home? And how much time and how much money is it really going to cost you when you're looking at that? And that's why even if you're going new construction, we advise you to get a realtor, because you could be missing out on somebody that's actually thinking differently than you think, because most people only buy a house every maybe 5 or 6 years, like you say.
Yeah.
And if you need someone that's helping you walk through all those questions and all the things you should be doing that you don't even know, it's always the unknown unknowns that are kind of scary.
And then partnering with a good lender who can run the different scenarios. Hey, it's going to be better for you to up your price point potentially a little bit more. Or if it is someone who's upgrading, they're selling off their old house, maybe using those proceeds to pay something else off. To where, hey, you know what? We're going to pay this other item off for you or with your proceeds. So you're not really paying that extra $120 a month. You're just moving from one bill to another.
Yeah.
So that's another good reason why to partner with a good lender who can go over those different scenarios and what's going to be best for the clients.
I think so. I think the idea is if you have a car payment or something like a credit card that's a large interest payment, mortgage money is still the cheapest money you can get around. I know it's not 3% right now, but it is still the cheapest money and over the longest amortization period you can. 30 years we're talking about here. That's why when you borrow $10,000, it's $65. So sometimes we've seen deals blow up over $5,000 or $10,000. You're talking $5,000. You're talking about $30 a month. You're walking away from a house over $30. It's you need to make sure that you can live with that, right? If you lose a house that you really love over $5,000, and we've had some clients almost lose houses over $3,000. I'm are you kidding me? We're talking $20. It's not. It's pizza money this month. I'll buy it for you.
Yeah, I mean, you go to Chick-fil-A now and you're spending $25 for two people.
Yeah, probably right
every time you go. So if you go once a month, that's extra $5,000 in purchase price on a house.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Garrett, for being here and this conversation. And as always, we're here to bring you real life experience to all your real estate needs.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me.
All right. Thanks.